Well, Athena, my name is Alex Wilmot Sitwell, and I am the president for Bank of America Merrill Lynch for Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
And how do you define achievement?
I've given this a lot of thought, as you might imagine, because I knew that you'd ask me the question. And the more I think about it, the more difficult it is to define achievement, because it means so many different things to different people. Every individual will have a different measure of achievement, but it needs to be a real challenge. It needs to probably require real personal sacrifice in terms of achieving those objectives, and it needs to be a stretch. And so those are the sort of parameters, but the actual definition of it I find very difficult, and I've given it lots of thought. I've read about how other people define it, and it's very interesting how broad it is that the definitions that people use to define this word that we use so regularly and throw away so often as something that is an everyday occurrence, which it very much isn't. The other thing I observe is achievement changes as one develops. And I thought of a comment that actually Keynes made, and we're going through a period of economic challenges which are relevant in the context of Keynesian theory of monetary policy. And Keynes was once asked why he had changed his mind on a particular topic. And he said, "I change my mind as the situation changes around me. What do you do, sir?" Or words to that effect. And it did strike me that we do change our definition of achievement as we evolve, as we develop, as we change ourselves. And I think that's very important, because I do think there needs to be a process of evolution and a process of resetting bars, of changing objectives, and of responding to different circumstances that we find ourselves in. I have found, certainly in my experience, that nothing in life is linear, other than the seasons and the months and years and decades, as it were, which are a linear progress. But in life, it is certainly not linear.
It is an evolution.
It is an evolution. It has to be evolutionary if indeed you're going to make progress, because you have to learn from the experiences you have. You have to gain new skills and new perspectives, and you have to use all of that to make progress in an evolutionary context. Now, I don't think everyone evolves necessarily at the same, certainly not at the same rate, and clearly not everybody evolves particularly well, because some people find the challenges they come up against too difficult to work around or overcome. And that's one of the features of life, I guess, which is that it's not even. It's not, as I was told as a child, fair, and different people respond in different ways to those different circumstances and challenges. In my career, I think my greatest achievement was facing up to a particularly difficult point in my life where I suffered dramatic business failure in something that I had set up and something I had worked to build. And that potentially, I think, was a defining moment in my life and career as to how I was able to respond to that particular challenge. Business failure, as close to bankruptcy as I hope I ever get, and an inability to make ends meet at that particular time, with a 2-year-old child, a pregnant wife, and a mortgage, and everything else that people have at that stage in their lives. And how I responded to that and how I was able to get over that, I suspect, in a career sense, was my defining moment. And I'm glad to say, I faced that challenge. I sort of resolved the sort of situation I was in. I went back about 15 steps in order to start going forward again, which goes back to your linear or non-linear progression. But I had to go back to go forwards. And I think that was an important moment in my life. And as I look back on my life, I would say that was a defining moment. And possibly my greatest achievement in a career sense.
How old were you?
I was 30.
What in your mind is the humanitarian side of banking?
We have to remember at all times that in everything we do, there is a person, a face, as you put it, a client on the other side of every interaction and transaction that we are involved in. And we have to think of that in the context of, are we doing the right thing for our client? And are we serving their interests to the best of our ability? And are we upholding their interests in terms of providing that product or providing that advice? And that is where the real human face comes into what we do every day.
What do you think is the relationship between risk and achievement?
Risk is something that you have to measure every day. You have to set parameters around it. You have to understand it. And once you've set those parameters, I think then you can set achievements and objectives in which to continue to manage that risk in a way which is in line with your that tolerance and framework. So understanding the risk, firstly, setting the parameters for your tolerance for risk, secondly, and then managing it with huge focus and intensity. I think that my one bit of advice is that there are so many different routes that you can take. There are so many different opportunities that will possibly, hopefully, open themselves up, and to be very open-minded about which route you want to take. I think that my generation became a little bit too fixated around following narrow paths and narrow channels of life and career development. In my experience, being a bit more open-minded and being open to taking very different types of paths is something that I would advise everyone to continue to remain open-minded about. That would be my, I think, first piece of advice. My second piece of advice would be to go right back to the beginning and say, which is going back to what my father was told me, which is just try your hardest at everything you do. And if you put everything on the table, then nobody can ever criticize you for not succeeding, because you've achieved as much as you're able to within the parameters of the talent that you have. And so try your very hardest and keep an open mind about different opportunities.